Hello, makeup friends, and welcome back to another My Week in Makeup video where I show you the makeup that I wear every day to the office. And really, the hope is just to inspire you to use what you already have and just give you some ideas on quote unquote office appropriate makeup. If you're new to the channel, I work in a law firm, but I also happen to own that law firm with a partner. So I don't have the same sort of corporate constraints put on me that people in other professional settings might. That being said, I do usually gravitate a bit more towards the neutral side of things when I'm getting ready for the office. This week, I'm using all palettes from Viseart. There's really no rhyme or reason behind that other than I have them and I like them and I just haven't worn them in a while. So I thought that I would bring them out and give them some attention. And now I'm stuck thinking, what am I going to do for this upcoming week? But that will be a tomorrow problem. And I'm sure that I will figure it out. I have more than one or two palettes to choose from. This week, in terms of what was on my agenda as I was sitting down to do my makeup on Monday here, there really wasn't that much. I had an incredibly busy March. April has been tied up largely with doing catch up from the chaos that March left behind. But I was starting to get on top of everything. The inbox was at a reasonable rate. It is very, very rare that I ever actually get my inbox completely empty, but we were getting close. I didn't have to scroll down to see the bottom of the list. And then things went a little haywire. We'll talk about that a little bit further on in this video. Nothing terrible, but just work got created. We'll put it that way. We are still in the process of adjusting to our new software at the office. There are still some bugs to work out, and it's definitely got quite the learning curve to it, but it's installed and it's working. So hopefully now we can just get used to the change and then just move forward from there. So no need for me to be complaining too much about it. This day, did I have anything particularly special on the agenda? I don't believe that I did. I'm not even entirely convinced that I had any meetings at all that day. I think that was really just me playing catch up, doing a lot of drafting. I do have a trial coming up in May. Well, it's scheduled for May, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be reached. So the way that the trial sittings work in my jurisdiction, my little part of Ontario, is that trials are heard for 3 weeks in the month of May and 3 weeks in the month of November. And so there's always some leftover. There's always some matters that have urgency and priority. And I'm not entirely convinced that mine would really establish as being urgent. And in fact, it's not urgent. And this is the first time being put on the list. So if there are a lot of trials to finish up from November, and if there's a lot of child protection matters, those will get priority. And you never know when your trial is actually going to be called. So they send you an email usually about 24 hours in advance saying, you're up tomorrow at 9:30. So for 3 weeks, you're kind of just in limbo, not really knowing if/when you're going to be called. So in addition to the trial that I have, which is currently scheduled for 5 days, we have settled a couple of the issues, one of which would have taken, I think, at least a day of testimony. I don't think, well, I know that it's not going to go for the full 5 days. I think 2 is probably a bit more realistic, so that's good, but I still have to prepare as though it's going to go for a lot longer. So I have that matter, and then I also have a motion, which is, it's hard to explain. It's sort of like a mini trial. There are some definite differences, but this one is a return of a motion, so it was adjourned from this week that you're seeing me do this makeup and has been scheduled for one of the days during the trial sittings. So I know that one will go forward. So these are the things that are kind of weighing on me, and so I've been doing a lot of prep work in advance of them. Although, again, at this point, this is Tuesday. doing my makeup, I did not know that I was going to have an urgent matter on my hands. But as I went to work this day and hearing from one of my clients, the red flags were definitely going up, that we were going to have to do something pretty immediate and pretty drastic. And by Wednesday, I knew with certainty that that is what was going to happen. So I don't want to give too much of it away because A, confidentiality, and B, it's still ongoing, but it involved a parent traveling outside of Canada with a young child and not returning at the time that had been agreed upon between the parents before they left. So there were some rather stressful days there, especially for my client. And I've dealt with these matters loosely before, but I've never had an international one like this. So I had to do some research on the Hague Convention and how it applies. And it's a good learning curve. It's a good learning experience, but it's certainly something that I would not wish on any parent, especially at the distance that it was. It's not like they were just in like Rochester, New York, which is like a stone's throw, basically. This was Australia, so about as far away as you can literally get on this earth. So very, very difficult situation, but I was very, very grateful to be able to assist my client. And ultimately, we do have a temporary order, which is going to be helpful to him. And then we have that return in May to really flesh it all out and get an order in place. So there's a plan in place. It's just a matter of the timing and all of that. So that certainly, I don't want to say it derailed my week, but it certainly took over my week, because those are the kind of situations that you really can't just take a wait and see approach. You really do have to be proactive about it. So I guided my client as best I could through that. So this was for Tuesday, and I'm quite pleased with myself because that evening, nothing to do with makeup, but that evening I started back at the pool with training for triathlon season, because it is rapidly approaching and I have not been very good about being active. So I am back on it. I went on the Tuesday and I went on the Thursday, and those are going to be my swimming days going forward. There are a few pools near my place. We have like a membership through our city's recreational department. So we can go to any of those pools except the one that is the closest to my house. They start their lane swimming at 8:45 at night, which is just way too late. Like, that is just way too late. That is, my brain is turning off a clock. But there is another one that has just started offering 8 p.m. And the 45-minute difference really does make a huge impact. So I'm going to be doing those on the Tuesday and Thursday. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure what is going on, but my hair looks phenomenal after being in the pool. I do wear a swim cap when I swim lanes, but I always wash my hair at the gym as I get out of the pool. And I don't know if it's the combination of chlorine and whatever shampoo I'm using. I mean, the shampoo that I have in my swim bag is, I think it's like Herbal Essences or something. Like, it's nothing fancy. It's not anywhere near expensive as the stuff I use at home. And yet my hair looks fantastic. So maybe I just need to switch to the cheap stuff and just lean into it, because those curls look amazing there, if I say so myself. They look amazing. They're usually very frizzy and nowhere near as controlled as this. So I think I'm going to take a look and just replicate the products that I have in my swim bag at home. I think the hair product, like the curl management product, if you will, is from TG. It's the Catwalk Curl Amplifier, something like that. That's working a lot better for me than some of the stuff that I have at home. So anyways, that's neither here nor there, but my curly hair girls will know the struggle. When you find something that actually controls your curls without making them look perma-wet, you buy a case of it. That's basically how it works. So anyways, this was this Wednesday or Thursday? I don't know. I took one of them off. I just can't remember which one. I believe this was Wednesday. So this day was spent doing a ton of drafting because we did not get the email that we were hoping back from that parent who had traveled with the child. So I was doing a lot of drafting in order to bring this motion. I had to draft not only the motion materials, so the actual motion form, if you will, is basically setting out what it is that you're looking for. And then the affidavit is explaining to the court why that should be granted. So that's basically your persuasive argument, if you will, is putting it out in the affidavit where you set out all of the facts, and then a judge reviews that and makes a decision based on that. So there was a lot of paperwork to do. There's a lot of other little fussy things in there as well, but I won't get into it. But yeah, that took up the majority of my day. And then here we are on Friday. So with the urgent matter, we had gone on Wednesday and actually filed it in person at the court. And the judge who reviewed it, because it is like an urgent basis, they reviewed it immediately. So within about an hour, I got an endorsement back, setting argument in motion, or in person rather, till Friday. So I had to actually attend court. Well, it wasn't really in person, it was Zoom, but for oral argument. I had to serve the other side and attend on Friday to argue the motion. There were some technical difficulties for the other party, so we didn't actually really get into said motion. That's why it's been adjourned until May. But we did manage to have some conversation. She got some legal advice, and we did get an order made on consent that'll kind of put the finger in the dam. But I hadn't anticipated going to court. And in using this Violette palette, I had thought at the beginning of the week that I would save it to Friday so that I could have a much more colorful look, because we were only going to be in the office half of the day on Friday, because my partner and I had booked reservations for lunch and had booked an escape room for us to attend with all of our staff and associates. So that was my planned agenda. That's not necessarily what happened. And honestly, we didn't get in before the judge until just about noon. So I actually didn't think that I was going to get to attend with them at all, but happily I was done by 12:30, so we all got to enjoy our lunch together and then take on the escape room. And we worked really well as a team, and we did solve it in less than an hour, so very, very happy about that. And you never really know what you're going to get into going into an escape room with people that you've never done one before. Sometimes you find out that people are way more competitive than you thought. And sometimes you find out that people are not nearly as intelligent as you thought. And that was the case here. I'm not saying that at all. We actually all did really work very well together. And I think everybody managed to solve like an individual puzzle on their own at any rate, and sort of contribute in that way. But the whole point of it was that we had fun together. It was sort of like a team building exercise and a reward for all the hard work that everybody did in March and putting up with this software transition. So I was very grateful that I got to attend. And that has been my week. It's been a good week, but a little bit stressful and certainly busy. Certainly busier than I thought it was going to be, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm very glad to be starting that habit again of heading out to the pool. I love swimming, like I really love it, but it is a pain in the ass because for like the half hour that I'm in the pool, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes of getting there, getting changed, getting in, getting out, getting showered, getting changed, getting home. Like it's quite the investment of time, but I really do enjoy it and I am a better person for it. So at any rate, I hope that you guys have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye.